And now I'm cheesing my way to
Fuck
you,
it.
Van,
Fuck it. No
with a
need.
burning cheese inside.
The cheese you gotta scrape off the bottom of the pan. It's just candied on there. It's nasty cheese.
It's time to talk pack.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Before we get there, we'd like to throw our condolences out. Uh, Herb Adderley, a longtime Packer. He was a member of the first five of Vince Lombardi's championship teams. One of the greatest quarterbacks in history of the NFL. Passed away on Friday. He was 81 years old.
Cornerbacks.
What did I say? I said cornerback.
I think you did. I'm just enunciating it.
Oh, I stuttered my words, and I have a. I'm not
Just so
good with
nobody thinks
words.
he was a quarterback. He was a cornerback.
Played with the Packers from 61 to 69 and finished his career with the Cowboys 70 to 72, where he won his sixth NFL title. Uh, yeah,
He
Pro
played
Football Hall of Fame in 1980. Bart Starr referred to him one time as the greatest cornerback to ever play the game.
he played in 4 of the first 6 Super Bowls and won 3 rings.
Yeah. Yeah,
Insane in the brain.
he had like 48 interceptions. Um, yeah, 39. Let's see, Packers history 39 interceptions. Uh, at that time, he had scored 7 pick sixes, which was an NFL record at that time. Yeah, I mean, his name is on the wall in the Ring of Honor in Green Bay. Um, it's
He,
just the sad part is we're getting to this age where all these guys that have played on all these formative teams in the NFL are starting to go, and so it's a little sad.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, he was 81 years old, and
I mean, broke a
just
lot of barriers too. Just yeah, unfortunate.
he was his teams. Final note here: 127, 46, and 5 for a
That's,
remarkable .713 career winning percentage.
that's really good.
That's
That's really good.
insane.
Mhm.
12 seasons.
Getting into the meat of the episode here. Packers lose 28-22 to the Vikings in Green Bay. It's actually Matt LaFleur's first divisional loss as a head coach. The first thing I'm going to say here is uh, after games like this, I have to really tune out from the fan pages on Facebook because apparently this team is in complete disarray. We need to completely clean house everywhere and start over. But what I'll remind people is that divisional games are always harder.
They are. I
Fact.
mean, they
It's
really
fact.
are.
Factual. Dalvin Cook is an extremely talented running back.
That
Very good.
dude,
He is the best in the league right now.
yeah. I mean, it's funny. I thought you were gonna say he's one of the top talents, and then I was gonna say he's the best in the league right now. But you fucking took my thunder. So go
Third,
on.
third and most important point, everyone forgets every time, is that the other guys get paid to win the game too. It's not just the Packers out there against everybody else. It's really not just the Packers getting paid to beat everybody else up. Everybody else is getting paid to beat us up too.
I mean,
It's sorry. Now it doesn't excuse the fact that we played like trash. I mean,
especially
it,
on defense.
it defensively was bad,
I
and
mean,
it's
Dalvin
just
Cook.
a couple of funny things here. Obviously, it was very cold, very high winds. Only 24 snaps in the first quarter, which was a low season wide so far. Only 5 possessions in the first half. One of them was a mini possession too. So really only 4 possessions in the first half. Um, Clock went super fast. Um, you know, but I saw parts where we were running the same, where the Vikings ran the same play 3 times in a row with Dalvin Cook, and we just couldn't stop him. We I mean, what are you going to do? We knew what they were going to. I mean, with it being cold and windy, you knew what the game plan was. And with having Dalvin Cook and a suspect quarterback in Kirk Cousins, you knew what the game plan was, and you just didn't execute. Um, some of the officiating I thought got really terrible in the second half. really ticky tacky. The first half was pretty clean. Second half got really bad. There were a couple of really questionable PI calls. One of them, Jair Alexander got called in the end zone in the third quarter. Got called for pass interference on what was very clearly an uncatchable ball. And I looked it up. And an uncatchable pass interference is allowed. I'm sorry. It is not pass interference when, quote, there is, quote, contact that would normally be considered pass interference, but the pass is clearly uncatchable by the involved players, except pertaining to blocking downfield by the offense. That ball was 10 feet over his head and got called for PI anyways.
Yeah.
Bad tackling. Rogers missed a couple big throws.
Rogers looked generally off. And I felt like he had
didn't look not like terrible. It's just like he missed one really big throw to like a wide open Jay Sternberger, and like officiating was inconsistent. No urgency, right? Like this is the same thing that happened in the Buccaneers game. We faced a mild amount of adversity, and we were like, "Oh man."
We just don't. I feel
and
like
just like stop playing.
So the one thing that we had during the McCarthy era, if I can say that, is that 2 minute offense was some of the best 2 minute offense. Like it was predictable, you knew exactly what was coming, and it was still tough to beat. That pace was so hard.
Yep.
And we don't have that now. I mean, we have it sort of, but it's not that. It's not that thing.
Well,
like of all the McCarthy, it was 100% predictable, and we almost always had to get to the 2 minute thing because we were always getting fucking wrecked. But then we could sometimes use that hurry up to do something, make something happen. But it's like you said, when we face adversity, we don't
just put our
have
heads
those.
down.
We don't have that same ability
I don't know.
to score quickly.
I noticed Aaron Rodgers falling back into his old ways of 2 years ago, of going for a knockout rather than hitting the short routes. I saw on that last quarter, the entire last quarter, you had running backs in the flats. You had guys crossing over the middle on short routes that he was just looking off and just tossing deep balls, and just there's no urgency. I just it, mm, mm. Poor tackling. And now the hard part is, after an underwhelming performance where you got really beat up, you have to travel to the West Coast on a short week, which should not be allowed. Short week travels to the West Coast, more than 2 time zones. We looked this up there today, didn't we? That it's like the traveling team loses almost every time.
I mean, yeah. I look, all that is good, but I want to go back to Dalvin Cook. This week should have almost just been called the Dalvin Cook section.
It really should have.
Let me just tell you a few records that he set. Cook became the first player to score a touchdown on each of his team's first 4 possessions of a game since the NFL AFL merger in 1970. He also, so if you don't know, Dalvin Cook had 226 scrimmage yards, 4 scrimmage touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
He is the first Vikings player with at least 200 scrimmage yards and at least 4 touchdowns in a single game. Also, the only player in NFL history with at least 200 scrimmage yards and at least 4 touchdowns in a game against the Packers. And the only player, meaning both either for Vikings or Packers, with such a game at Lambeau.
Mm-hmm.
It was really, I mean, if you take off how upset I was about how poorly we were doing, Dalvin Cook was incredible all day. And it doesn't give me any significant pleasure to say that, but I just have to give props where props are due.
He's a phenomenal running back. And people forget the fact that, like I said, he's getting paid to be good at what he's doing. And he was really good at it, and we didn't stop him being really good at what he does.
And that play where they threw that 50-yard screen, it looked unstoppable when he did that.
The first time he did it to us, the first game, didn't he? He had like a scramble like that in the first game.
Yeah. Anyway,
we're good for that once a year.
I have nothing else to say about this game. I'm done with it. It's dead to me.
Well, and so we'll even see if we play this week. I'm hoping we were, but Packers released a statement. Packers were informed today that a player has tested positive for COVID-19. The organization has entered the NFL's intensive protocol, and the player has self-quarantined. We will continue to work with the league on contact tracing as we follow the guidance of intensive protocol. All player meetings will be conducted virtually today. Our focus continues to be on the health and safety of our players, staff, and community. We continue to work closely with the NFL and medical professionals and follow their guidance. That player is A.J. Dillon, rookie running back. We had a pretty decent game. Got some carries on Sunday.
Yeah, I mean the only
What I had read was that it was his pregame test came back positive. I don't know if they have like a 3-day test or whatever.
the rapid test.
Yeah, yeah. I had read that it came back. His pre-test one came back.
I don't know, man. This game, dead to me. I'm not even going to think about it anymore.
I'm talking about the next game. We'll see if we even play because if he's if they determine that the team is going to have potential for carrying a virus across the West Coast, you can't be having that happen.
Yeah, I think there's a good likelihood that with the contact tracing and just the incubation period, there's a good chance we see a delay.
They push it to Friday, Saturday.
I mean, I would guess that we might pick up another bye. Hopefully, not a forfeit.
I wonder if the NFL will make a week 18 for like a buffer.
I mean, from the looks of it, I think they might need it.
We'll see. Last couple things. The trade deadline is tomorrow, November 3rd at 3 p.m. Central. We apparently made an offer for Zach Ertz, tight end, before he got placed on IR earlier this season, which would have been pretty sweet. Eagles tight end. He's really good. But a lot of people are, obviously pulling for offense, and they're talking about, especially Will Fuller from the Texans. People are really wanting us to pick up Will Fuller, and we've expressed interest in him. Apparently, we've expressed interest in him, like repeated interest. We'll see. It'd be nice.
It'd be
Go out
nice.
and get somebody. I mean,
I'm not going to hold my breath. Our back office doesn't give me any hope for doing a whole lot.
Well, you got to consider this past game too. Aaron Jones was hurt. Dave Bakhtiari was hurt. Alan Lazard is still out. I think he just came back to practice this week, so he's got another week to sit out before he can come back from IR. That's 3 major parts of our offense. Major.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, it definitely is.
Kevin King was out on defense. Raven Green was out on defense.
We'll see.
Fuck it. 49ers lost. They're reeling. So is it going to make them play worse on a short week or give them a little more fire to play better?
I mean, I always feel better about facing a backup quarterback. That I think is the biggest thing.
And not George Kittle.
And not George Kittle. I mean, George Kittle, you can't understate his impact on the passing and the running game. Tremendous blocker. Mm-hmm. So he affords extra time, extra larger gaps in the lines. He is a significant piece to that offense working properly, and not an easy one to replace.
Right.
Definitely, in my opinion, the best tight end in the game.
Mm-hmm. So now we'll go face Nick Mullins and see. Also to note, before the last game, Mason Crosby had a tight back, I guess. Something to keep our eyes on.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw they were hesitating to make kicks, so.
Well, it was also windy as shit.
I guess that's it.
Fine.
All right, thanks everybody. Bye.
Whatever.